Welcome to the Star Room. In front of you is the chart for the March new moon. The sun and the moon, we're going to talk about their location and the sign that they're in and the kind of conversations they're having with the sun and the moon, with Venus and Neptune, and we're going to talk about Mars and then Mercury and Jupiter, and I'm tying in the United States chart. Mercury in the sign of Aquarius at 26 degrees and 45 minutes is conjunct the United States moon. 27 degrees of Aquarius, also out of its shadow zone. So this will also be very significant for this new moon and setting intentions. So let's dive deep into this together. Let's sit back and relax. Let's get our coffee, our beverage, our snacks, whatever we need, our tea, our soda. Maybe you're having a glass of wine. Maybe it's late in the evening. This is G. You are right where you belong. We are going to go over the frequencies. We're going to talk about the planetary bodies and what does that have to do with your life anyway. So we start off with the cursor up here, March new moon, the 13th, 2021. The time is important when we talk about new moons because there is a power of prayer. There's also a power time for that prayer / intentions. And so we look at the details. 4:20 a.m. Central Standard Time. And that's based upon where I live, okay? Yes, I'm in Illinois. So you have to make an adjustment for where you live. The time involved with this is all about knowing that if you set your intentions at that time, there comes about the greater inclination, the greater manifestation, the greater support from the universe to make that which you desire, that which you want, that which you have been dreaming of, that which you long for, that which has been in your heart to come true. We do a prayer ceremony. We do an intention ceremony for the new moons and the full moons every month at Allastrology. So if you are a subscriber, make sure. And if you aren't, well, why aren't you? And if you are a subscriber, and if I haven't heard from you, if you haven't put a comment down below at this time to at least say, gee, I'm here, hello, let me know you're here. Let me hear from you. Recently, over the weekend, we had a live, and there were people who were chiming in on the live who were at the chat who said they had listened before, and these were people I'd never even heard of. So, folks, let your ears receive what I'm about to say. If you're here, if you're at Allastrology, and I don't know your name, I haven't heard from you, I haven't read anything from you, I want you to know how important that is. It's important to me. I like to know each person that I'm touching in with. I like to know who's listening. I like to at least have that. This channel is still small. So please, just say hello. And maybe you're one of those who doesn't have many words, and I understand that. You can throw some emojis down there for me. Let me know how I'm doing. And let me know what it is that I can do for you. The good stuff here, we've got the sun and the moon. Now, I want you to pay attention to the degrees. These are important, okay? They're important for folks who actually have a chart in their hand, their own chart. And why? Because when I say degrees, okay, like here's an example. This is the sun, right? This is the moon. This is Neptune. This is Venus. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. I'm going to go back to the sun. It's at 23 degrees. And I'm going to click on something here. And this will help people who are watching and who are watching because they want to learn. We pull this up a little bit. And it gives you the definition of what the sun means. The sun is one of the luminaries. It is said to represent your personality, how you express yourself in the world. Do you express yourself well? Do you really shine in your life, or do you struggle to shine? The sun can also give you information about your relationship with your father. Okay? It can also give you your relationship with your father. And I know in a recent video we talked about, I'm sorry, it wasn't a video, it was the live, we talked about the sign, the planet Saturn representing father, because it's an authority figure. The sun also plays the role of an authority figure in your life. Okay, so I wanted to make sure I added that in there because I know I was talking to somebody in particular. Matter of fact, it was subliminal radio. We were talking about your chart and going over the significance of Capricorn and Saturn being the ruler of Capricorn. So just wanted to add that in there, that the sun is also significant. So the sun is how you shine, it's how you radiate, it's how you express creatively and uniquely. Okay, that's the cool thing about the sun. In the sign of Pisces, Pisces itself, right? We can find out about Pisces if we click on Neptune. Neptune, why do I say that? Because Neptune is the ruler of the sign of Pisces. So when you click on Neptune, what does it say? Neptune is the planet of mysticism and at oneness, right? I've been seeing that a lot below the comments from some folks and at other channels. We are one, hashtag we are one. That is a Piscean understanding. It's ingrained because it understands the connectivity between everything and being. It understands that we are all one. It represents both the blissful and at one-ment of the spiritual and the confusion which comes from not knowing limits and boundaries. I'm going to read that again. Neptune / or also Piscean energy. There is a confusion which comes from not knowing the limits and boundaries. It blurs reality and fantasy, and it also teaches you compassion and unity. So with Neptune and Piscean energy, you have to be very careful. You have to be able to have a high level of discernment, I would say. Okay, because the opposite sign of Pisces is the sign of Virgo energy, and Virgo has a very well-developed keenness, sharpness, acuteness about discernment, about the tangible, the non-tangible, because Virgo has the ability to see all the details. Okay, and Piscean energy, it blurs the details. It can make the material world disappear. It can say, well, I see this, but now you don't. Okay, that is Piscean energy. It can take on a very beautiful spiritual aspect. Some could say religious, but it transcends religion, Piscean energy. It understands that it sees the unity behind all things and people and beings and social and cultures and religions. Piscean understands the connectivity. Okay, so when we understand that moon highlighting, right, lighting up that Piscean energy, the moon and the sun, I should say, because it's a new moon. And if you don't know, well, now you know, the sun and the moon together is what gives you a new moon. And they're at matching degrees, 23 degrees and 3 minutes. Okay, now I started off by saying that we give out the degrees, and the reason we give out the degrees is because in your chart you want to see, is this close to anything in your chart? Do you have a planet that matches 23 degrees and 3 minutes in Pisces? Do you have a house cusp line? And when I say that, I'm going to use this chart as an example. This is the second house right here, and we see that for this second house, number 2, Pisces cusp line, right, which is the line, which cusp means the beginning of that house. That's all that word cusp means. It's at 28 degrees and 10 minutes. So 28 degrees and 10 minutes in the sign of Pisces is the cusp line of the second house in this chart that I'm looking at. And by the way, this is nothing more than a chart of the moment. You would want to see do you have anything at 2303. All right, we'll just say 23. All right, but I usually use a orb of 2 degrees. So that means, do you have anything at 21, 22, 23, 24, or 25 degrees? So it's 2 degrees before and 2 degrees after. So the power of the new moons is because it's the moon on top of the sun on top of the moon. The moon is your emotions, okay? So when you feel strongly, when you feel deeply about something, that fuels, that amplifies whatever it is that you are setting down and saying, hey, this is what I want. This is my intention. This is my desire. When you set intentions, when you try to manifest, you're using the power of the law of attraction. I will include that video down below this one. Check it out. I break it down and you will see how that works out on paper. You'll see it logically explained. Because there are abstract ideas when we talk about things like the law of attraction or any of the universal / or natural laws. You understand it, but it's very abstract. And so for some people, the abstract things are very hard to comprehend. But when you can see it and numbers and degrees, percentages assigned to the law of attraction, for me anyway, it just took it to another level of understanding. It just took it to a whole nother level. So yes, I will include that down below this video. Check it out, and then you'll understand why the new moons, why I'm always talking about new moons, and why there's a ceremony for new moons. Because the more people that are focused around a prayer, around a thought, around an intention, the more power it has. So see if you have something at these degrees. And if you do, comment to me, let me know, and then I can give you the definitions, because all I'll need for you to tell me is what house it's in, okay? Or come to the live on Saturday night. Every Saturday night we do a Starry night live, and it begins at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you can make those, you can ask questions then, and you can get answers then, all right? You'll also get whatever information comes through for you, whatever needs to be heard, whatever needs to be said, whatever the universe wants you to hear will come through then for you. So getting back to the new moon, it is a magical time. It is a time of magic, okay? And if you have something at those degrees, it makes it more powerful for you personally. And understanding the house that it's in and seeing just the overall setup really gives you more details to what it is you can manifest. And that is why we're talking about this in depth, because when we know it's in the sign of Pisces, that tells us, okay, so this is a Neptune ruled moon, okay? Neptune ruled. So when we click back on Neptune again, right? Look, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. When we look for the definition, Neptune, it is important to note, I already read that one up there, but we'll go over some of it's mysticism and oneness. It's unity. It's spiritual. It is a very creative sign, right? And remember, it does not know the limits, right? It comes from not knowing limits and boundaries, meaning Neptune is that belief of limitlessness. It's the understanding that I see the limitations within the physical world, but because I too know and believe and have faith, I know that there is more that can occur in my life. There is more that is possible than I can fathom. There is more out there. There is something greater than myself that I can link in with, that I can be in sync with and work with. And that is what we're doing when we're looking at energy and when we're studying energy, which is energy has cycles. It's just like the seasons, right? You live here on the planet Earth. You see the seasons that the Earth goes through, right? You see the spring, the summer, the fall, the winter. Energy and or the planets have the same thing. They go through cycles. They go through a season. And so when you understand what that season's going to bring, right? Your winter months, it gets cold. You got to wear a heavier jacket. You might need snow boots, right? You might need to invest in a shovel. You might need a snow blower, okay? So when you understand the seasons, you know what to expect. And therefore, you can move intelligently through the cycles and the timing of your life.